Hello, and welcome to Senior Strokes. I'm Angel Mercado. How you doing drawings? And the drawings that you're doing today, maybe you might be happy you think they're looking better, but they're still looking kind of flat, kind of empty. You're still not too satisfied with them. Maybe the reason why, maybe you're just adding too much information there. Maybe you're putting too many details. Let me tell you about the power of suggestion. The power of suggestion is something that can really improve your drawings. You can relax while you do this. You don't have to worry about build ultimate stuff like this because you need to do everything right and precise. No need for that. And here, if you follow my way, the way I draw, you're going to find out you're going to have a beautiful drawing experience because you're going to be able to relax. The eraser, you're not going to use it to erase, you're going to use it to draw with, to suggest with. We're going to be looking at big masses and we're just going to suggest darks and lights, midtones. That's the power of suggestion. Power of suggestion, you put more of yourself in it. Don't have to be so realistic all the time. Power of suggestion is something that I think you are going to find very interesting. If you happen to like drawings or sketches or paintings, then they are more expressive. That is the type of work that I enjoy. That's the type of work that most of the time I do, including in my paintings. So if you're ready for that, I invite you to watch this following video. But before, a like of course will be nice, the little bell. That way you know when I'm sending new videos. Of course, you can share, that would be beautiful. And get your free guide also. This will help you if you're new at this and you're not sure exactly how to go about creating a nice composition. It will help you to do that. So get it. Now, thank you for being here again, and let's go and see what this video is all about. What can we suggest in our drawing? How do we go about it? Let's go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is just do a little frame around the page. I always like to put a border. That way when we go frame, we might use this white. And I'll be using the pencil. It's a charcoal pencil, soft. That's my eraser, and this eraser now, the way to use it, you're gonna have to, pull it apart like this. That way you can get rid of the charcoal. That's how it cleans itself. It gets softer, and then you can mold any kind of tip that you want for you to work. And also we are going to use a bunch of charcoal sticks of different thicknesses. Some are soft, some are hard, some are medium. So that's what we'll be using. And on top there of that box I have a little piece of sandpaper where I sharp some of my charcoals, and also to create charcoal dust that I can use it, on the paper to draw with. So now that you know the materials, we have all the border all the way around the page. Now the next step comes, where is the horizon line? The horizon line, we don't want to do it right in the middle of the page. You never want to divide equal amounts of space between the page. It's kind of like not good according to academia, I guess. But in this case we're going to do it a little bit below the midline. So there it is. And one thing I'm going to tell you, when you do these lines, do them soft. Use a soft touch. If you go too dark in here and then later on you want to erase that line, you want to move it a little bit, you are not going to be able to do it. It's going to be there because you went too dark. So the key to this is just to go very soft touch. That is one mistake a lot of people make right at the beginning. Okay, so next one, I'm squinting my eyes. squinting my eyes, just like this. Why? Because like this I can judge the tones between darks and lights. And here, if you squint your eyes a little bit to the picture, you can see there's a lot of dark tones. So pretty much the only light tones you see here is the sky and the branches, right, and a little path in the field. And everything else is dark. So what I'm doing here, I'm just doing a little, just kind of making myself a little reference of where the darks are going to go, but in a very broken, manner. Nothing, I'm not committing myself to anything, which you don't want to do that too early in the game, and that's what I'm doing. And here I'm going to start drawing a little bit where my trees are going to go. It's a very simple sketch, and there's a line there for my shadows are going to be in the foreground. And when you do this, it's going to work out beautiful because you're going to tie the background with the midground and the foreground, and that's exactly what you want to do. You don't want to have too many separate things. Doesn't look good. So once I see that is working out for me, that composition, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a large piece of charcoal, and I'm going to use the side of the charcoal just to cover more ground. And this is one of the reasons why I do most of my, or a lot of my videos for YouTube, I use charcoal. Because if I use pencil, it will take me a lot longer, and I don't want you to be bored with me for such a long time. Just bear with me for about 15-20 minutes, not for about an hour or so, if I use pencil. So you can see how fast I can move here with the charcoal. If I was using pencil, it would take me a lot longer. So it's great media for me to use for these videos. And as I'm showing you there, I'm using the side of this bigger stick. And look how much ground I can cover. That would be impossible for me to do this much with the pencils. I'm not that fast with pencils. And I just like the looseness also, I like the looseness of the charcoal. You can get a lot more expressive. And when you squint your eyes to the scene, you can see, like I said before, almost everything is dark. So I'm going to apply charcoal to everything, pretty much to the whole page. The only thing that's not going to have charcoal is going to be the border around it, right? And the sky in this case is going to have some charcoal also because it's not white. But you'll see how I'm going to apply the white, the charcoal on the sky, because we don't want to make it too dark either. In the image here, the sky is one of the lightest, so we want to keep it that way. And here I'm going to use a tissue just to blend everything, to get rid of that little white specks, that the paper has. Sometimes it's kind of annoying. Plus here I can just tie everything together, the background with the midground and the foreground, and go light again. As you can see here, I'm using the tissue, whatever charcoal I have in the tissue from going over the paper, that's what I'm using for the sky. I'm not adding charcoal straight to the sky because then it will be too dark. So it doesn't take much, it takes very little. So once I have some of that there, I will put my tissue away and I will pick up charcoal again and start darkening it, especially the shapes in the foreground. And once you start doing this, you're going to start seeing that I'm creating layers. You see right away that the trees in the background, they start receding, they start moving to the background. And the dark masses are going to start coming forward to us, right? And that's exactly what's happening there, you see? And with this, I'm going to go all over the shapes, in the midground and foreground. And of course, when I say foreground, I'm talking about the shapes of the shadow on the field, because that's going to be the darkest. Several things. When you draw something like this with something big, a big piece of charcoal, and you cover this much ground like this, it's a nice way to sketch. Why? Because you don't have to be all tensed up about being precise oh, this line should have been a quarter of an inch higher or lower. Who cares? Here, there are no mistakes. That's why I don't need my eraser to erase mistakes. I just use my eraser to clean up a space or to draw with. That's it. That's all. So it's a lot more, to me it looks, since we're talking about nature here, it looks more natural than if you're trying to do these little lines with pencils. Okay? At least that's how it works for me. If you notice, I'm doing this sketch from a painting that I did years ago. To me, every time when I was doing sketches then, it was, in my mind, it was a painting. I was doing it because I was going to do a painting, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. It's sketching so much like using paint, because the charcoal, it behaves like paint. You can move it around. It is amazing. I love this stuff. And now I'm putting a little bit of shadows in the foreground, which that's going to start unifying, you know, the whole composition. Like I said, we have from the foreground, we have all the lower part to the side, to the middle ground where we have the dark shapes of these trees. And then the background, we see a little bit of trees at the distance. And then of course we have the sky. And here I'm doing the same thing I did with the tissue. The only thing I'm using my finger. That way I can be a little more careful in some areas where I want to be careful with. If you use your fingers, a tip for you. Please wash your hands good. Make sure they're dry. They don't have any oily or greasy stuff in your fingers, and they're nice and dry. That way, when you do this, you are not going to create any oily spots that you are not going to be able to erase, because you will have those in charcoal. And once you have those, you cannot erase them. So pretty much you have to start all over again, or live with that. So it is good to have your hands nice and clean before you do this and dry. Okay, so now I'm going to go, and I think I'm going to go and reach for my eraser. And remember, here we're just suggesting things, right? I'm suggesting the shape of trees. I didn't say I'm going to draw this tree, this shrub, this other tree, this other tree, this shrub. No, I'm talking about masses here. I'm suggesting something. Just like here with the lane that I'm, or the path that I'm creating, with the eraser, I'm just suggesting where this goes, okay? I'm not being carefully drawing it and then try to keep it like that. No, suggesting. And why do I sketch like this? I love to sketch like this for many reasons. I love to sketch, that's one, maybe the main one. I love to enjoy myself when I sketch, so I try not to be do something that's going to, I have to concentrate and do these little tiny lines. I don't like that. And why? When I got into this, I got into this because of Monet. I got into this because of the Impressionists, okay? At the Art Institute in Chicago, it was a huge exhibit of Monet, Van Gogh. I went to see it, I got hooked, and I said, yes, I want to do this. And that's what I'm doing. And because I love the style, that when you look at something close like this, you say, what kind of mess is this? But as you move it back, you look from the distance, it comes together and say, oh, that is nice, that is beautiful. That's what I like about this. That's why I don't like the realism. You know, we have cameras. I can use my camera to take a photo if I want to be that realistic. Here, you can be expressive because you can put a lot of yourself in it. And that's what really makes it a difference in makes a difference from you and somebody else when it comes to your artwork. And now going back to the drawing, I'm darkening a little bit more the background. And you have noticed here that we're supposed to have cows in this field. There are no cows in the field. Where are they at? Maybe they're eating. Maybe they're milking them right now. That's why they're not in the field. But they're going to show up pretty soon. Don't worry about it. And again, when we do it, we're going to suggest them. That's all we're going to do. With the razor right now, I'm just trying to define a little bit more the shapes of the background trees, a little bit of a sky holes in between the masses. And now, if you notice, I made a tip with a very fine line just to be able to sketch branches, to sketch tree trunks. Most of these were sycamore trees, some birch, so when it's bright light, they turn bright white. Beautiful trees, fun to sketch. So full of life and twisty, and I like them. And especially if you're using color for something close up of a tree trunk, for instance, or a sycamore, you can go wild with the colors because they have all kinds of colors in them. They're a lot of fun. Okay, so going back to this, you see the eraser, how much charcoal I have in it. If you use an eraser like that, where it's already white, you are going to start adding charcoal to your white. You don't want to do that. So you want to stretch it out, like I'm doing, and then give it a nice clean tip, and then go over the white. And you see how well it works? So you have to always be aware of how much charcoal you have there. If you have a lot of charcoal, go over the darker areas. But if you want something to stay a little bit brighter, you have to stretch it out, clean it, and to make another tip and draw with. So now that we're a little bit closer to the end, you can see that I have pretty much done almost all of the scene that was in this landscape. The only thing missing are the cows, and that's going to be the last thing I'm going to draw. And also, I'm just going to suggest them. If you are driving, let's say you're driving, having a nice day, and all of a sudden say, oh wow, look, there are cows in the field. If you look at them, you're not going to see the details. You're going to see just shapes, if they're brown or whatever color they are, you're just going to see the shapes. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here. The farther they are, the less you're going to see details. You're just going to see little tiny specks, lines, or whatever. If you can draw only one or two cows a little bit closer to you, then they're kind of like going to look like cows. Their brain's going to say, oh, all of the rest of the stuff are cows. And that's fine. That's what we wanted the brain to do. So that's exactly what's going to happen. So very freely here, I'm just adding cows all over the place. And before we go, subscribe, ring the little bell. It would be nice to be able for you to know when I'm publishing new videos. And look down below in the description line for that guideline that I have. It's free for you, especially for the beginning, of how you can start drawing, how you can start a composition. Something I'm sure is going to help you. And let me know if it's helping you or not. Let me know if you want something different. Okay? It would be nice. That way I know what to make, what kind of videos to make. Alright, enough of that, back to the drawing. Now we're just getting to the end, and I'm adding more little details in the grass here and there, just to make it more, realistic, look more natural. And as you can see, when you look throughout, there's nothing very well defined. And to me, that's the beauty of it. And now I'm going to lift a little bit of charcoal here because to divide the vegetation from behind this tree. You see, just by doing that, the tree in the foreground just moved forward, and that mass of vegetation just moved back. Just by lifting a little bit. It sure doesn't take much. And here I'm just going here and there, trying to add maybe the sun that is hidden on some of these cows. So that's where I'm putting the sunlight. I'm going to add a little more details in the face, maybe one or two of them, just to make them look more like cows. So the rest of the marks there, they're cows. So that's what I'm doing. And just, just fine tune it. So if you enjoyed this, I hope I'm going to get to see you again. Let me know what you think about this. You want more stuff like this or not? I'm a landscape painter, so that's what I do. So I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're spending time with me. I hope you are drawing with me. If you're not, what are you waiting on? Let's get with it. So till next time, and it's been a great time having you here. Goodbye.